Hey guys, welcome back to Down the Stretch. For those who don't know, I'm the host, Christopher Charlton. Today we're going to be doing reviews and replays of races for Friday the 23rd of May. And if you watch my channel, you know I'm completely transparent. So we have good days, we have bad days. We're going to talk about it anyway. So let's get right into it. So in the opening event, the first race, I boiled the race down to 5 horses. They were Chief in Command, Global Pursuit, Enthusiastic, Bubbling Warrior, and Earmark Blitz. Chief in Command was a non-starter, so that left me with 4 runners. And the obvious horse, who I said is the horse are going to have to be turned out the winner. That was Global Pursuit. The horse I said to watch, Bubbling Warrior, that horse ended up in second. Enthusiastic ended up third. Didn't have the 4th horse, Rebel, but my other horse, Earmark Blitz, finished in 5th. Let's revisit the first race.
They're off. Runaway Bay and Susie Q come away on the far side. Global Pursuit is running in the middle in the white cap in the colors of Carlton Watson. Enthusiastic races are near to us along with a Rebel right against the stand fence. Bubbling Warrior just on the hind legs of those as they make their way now toward the final quarter. Enthusiastic comes through, may just have that lead over Global Pursuit. Rebel is right there on the premises running a big one. A Bubbling Warrior now just in behind them and asked to close up, but they charge away toward the final furlong. Global Pursuit just in front of Enthusiastic. Rebel is running fast nearest to us, but it's Global Pursuit in control inside the final 16. Global Pursuit with the advantage in the first event. Global Pursuit and Robert Hallidine take it from Bubbling Warrior, Enthusiastic, then Rebel. Earmark Blitz has finished in 5th.
Okay, the second race. Kind of races I really hate handicapping because it's the bottom of the barrel and it's over the straight course. These races I don't buy in, so I don't buy in these races, but you put them for like your pick 9 and your pick 6. So my selection in this race was Sudden Flight, Monaco, Big Guy in the Sky, and Will the Conqueror. Big Guy in the Sky was a non-starter, and He's a Lion ended up winning this race. And I'm going to give you guys the exact reason I left He's a Lion. The last time out He's a Lion ran, I did tip him. I wanted him to run in the exacta, but he finished 3rd. Good run. But the reason I left him this time around, he was coming off an 8-month rest when he ran on his last start. And me, how I read racing when a horse at this level comes off of a long break and run well, I tend to think they're going to, what's that word we use it? Bounce. I tend to think they're going to bounce. So I was like leaning to it. But just the fact that Dick Cardenas took back that ride and he got maybe more than 2 weeks off, I could have did squeeze him in, but as I said, these kind of races kind of ups and down for me. So if I find probably 2 bankers on the card, sometimes these kind of races, I use every horse. Yeah, so I really stay away from races like this.
After holding them, they're off now. Off and racing. Well, the Conqueror gets a flying start. Monaco gets a good one too, right in the middle, that Matriarch. So it's Will the Conqueror, with looks to be holding on to that lead. Over on the far side, Sudden Flight. Monaco is right there too. Just behind them, that is a Matriarch, and He's a Lion. Left back against the rail, that's Caymanas. And also coming on, that's Jackson. They make their way coming out of the chute, and it is wide open. Will the Conqueror and Monaco matching stride. These are, and they're not too far away from. Here comes He's a Lion also coming on, but it's Monaco in front. He's a Lion trying to get back to Monaco. Caymanas is left back against the rail, but it's Monaco in front. He's a Lion coming on from Monaco. Monaco keeping on. He's a Lion now sticking to the task. He's a Lion, Monaco. He's a Lion hits the front, and He's a Lion in the Cardenas. Goes on to beat Monaco. They're about 6 or 7 lengths. Back in 3rd, we find Will the Conqueror. And
another way off target race for me here. Fear It Is finished 6th, Answer Attack 8th, Undecided 7th. As I said, bottom of the barrel over the straight course, not really my cup of tea. So, but this race, an interesting horse to note. Next time you see him at the races is going to be Boss Izzy. Look on the start of this race, Boss Izzy is going to get sandwiched and squeezed out of the race, having to drift all the way to the stands from behind horses, and still, in my opinion, finished a good race, beating into the 5th spot. So keep an eye out on this Boss Izzy.
They're off. Pharaoh It Is gets a good start. Also running quickly, Senor Kwanzi. Time to say goodbye is hunting up that lead in the early exchanges. Undecided, the grey races are right near the stand fence. Golden Emperor just stepping off it as they've covered the first a furlong and a half and make their way now toward the final 3 furlongs. Golden Emperor showing some good speed. Undecided and Boss Izzy racing in the slipstream of the leader as they charge away now toward the final quarter. Time to say goodbye. Races in the yellow sleeves in the center with a blinding light, but it's Golden Emperor the one to catch, and Undecided now begins to whittle away at that lead. Boss Izzy is under the drive. A blinding light has drifted right near the stand fence and is with that group on the far side. Time to say goodbye needs to do a lot more, but it's Golden Emperor in charge, leaving the furlong pole behind. Golden Emperor shrugging off the challenge of Blinding Light, now trying to close up, but it's Golden Emperor from Blinding Light, and time to say goodbye on the far side, and Golden Emperor will come away to take it on to Anthony Allen. Blinding Light, well, it's very close in the end, but it could be Golden Emperor over Blinding Light. Then time to say goodbye, and Senor Kwanzaa.
The fourth race was a fairly easy race to handicap. It ran exactly how I thought it would. The only surprise to me was Alexa's Lodge staying on strong. Usually Alexa's Lodge, the horse that quits in the stretch, but that's the only hiccup in this race. I tipped Posing already. That one run was fourth. I knew he would lead and cause problems for KP Choice, who finished fifth. Awesome Anthony, I knew it would set up perfect for him being the class horse, and Rejected Raja, I knew would stay on. He finished third. But the only surprising to me was Alexa's Lodge. I thought that horse would have thrown in the towel leaving the furlong pole, but I ended up first, third, fourth, fifth.
2.5 furlong the trip. They're off and racing. That's a good line. Posing already gets away sharply on the inside. KP Choice is right there in between horses. That's Alexa's Lodge right there on the outside. That is Awesome Anthony. A length and a half before we come to Rejected Raja. Another 4 before we come to Ella Fortunato, and racing at the back of the field, that's Alexa's Dream. They head toward the 3, and on that lead, it's Posing already from KP Choice. Awesome Anthony watches them from third. Then comes Alexa's Lodge racing in fourth. Rejected Raja comes next, another 5 or 6 lengths before we come to Ella Fortunato, and hopelessly out of it. That's Alexa's Dream. They're at the top of the lane, and now Awesome Anthony pounces, and Awesome Anthony joins the lead with running with Posing already. It's Awesome Anthony on the outside, Posing already coming up on the inside. That is Alexa's Lodge, and it's now Alexa's Lodge on the inside. Awesome Anthony on the outside, Alexa's Lodge, and Awesome Anthony just doing the better, and Awesome Anthony beats Alexa's Lodge. Then comes Rejected Raja back in fourth. That's Posing already.
Okay, the fifth race, my top 4 were in the race were Last Dance, who finished fourth, Print Quality, who finished seventh, Bad Investment, who finished third, and General Chief, who, in my honest opinion, I thought would win this race easy, finished second. This race just got away from me. I just didn't like 6th Avenue. I didn't think 6th Avenue could get the lead and make all the running. I honestly believed that Last Dance would be on the headlines, and anybody trying to press Last Dance would play in favor for General Chief. But 6th Avenue got to the lead under absolutely no pressure. Easy lead, and just strut away with it in the stretch. A horse to note, Print Quality, I don't know if I'm going to tip this horse again. This horse continuing to just stand up in the gate and then they lag behind and then trying to run on late. Of use at this level, and if comes out of those gates cleanly, he's going to run a much better race, but I don't know if I'm going to continue picking this horse.
They're off. ZI gets rid of the rider. Print Quality came out. Way at the back of the field, XY Soul just in front of him, and these are the back markers early as 6th Avenue charges through to get a 4.5 length advantage. Bad Investment and General Chief racing ahead of Traditional Boy. Last Dance is the one in the pink and white cap racing on the rail, making some ground. Shore Curling and Dancing in the Breeze team up in behind as they've left the 5 and run toward the half mile. The Love of God out wide of Expeditious. He's running the rail as the field have left the half mile marker. K-Boy has made some progress. A break opens up to Print Quality, and XY Soul just trails. They've left the 3 and make their way now toward the top of the lane, and 6th Avenue continues to lead them by 2.5 to 3 lengths. General Chief, the closest pursuer. Bad Investment has to make some progress as they come thundering into the top of the lane, and it is a 6th Avenue in charge in the orange silks, racing up past the 316th. General Chief now is asked to charge up toward the outside. That is Last Dance in the pink and white cap. Bad Investment looks to have given up down against the rail, but it's 6th Avenue getting cracks of that right-hand stick who has the lead. The riderless ZI now moving down into second, but 6th Avenue continues to roar along on that lead. It is 6th Avenue out in front. There's no catching 6th Avenue. 6th Avenue and Shaheem Gordon take it. General Chief is second. Bad Investment third. Last Dance is fourth. Dancing in the Breeze is fifth.
Okay, this was my savior race of the day. I picked the winner. Didn't win on the way I thought he would win. I thought this horse was going to go right to the front and make all the running. Based off of the last run when Samuda was doing absolutely nothing with that, point that out in my tips. And I got Dick Cardi and so on. So I thought Dick was going to go to the front and make all the running. But a surprise in the race was Papa Gray making the lead at this level easily. And Dick did the right thing by being patient, sitting on the rail, saving ground, coming on the run up the stretch to get the job done. So good ride there by Dick Cardenas. My selections in that race turned out Shwami the Butcher finished third. Captain Philip, who was my exacta horse coming from off the pace, was fourth. Horse to note in the race was Always Right. Had a very bad start with Superior, but unlike Superior, Always Right managed to improve his run and come from very far off the pace to finish fifth, while Superior disappointed, finishing 12th and last.
Ready for a start. They're off and racing. That's a beautiful line. Papa Gray rushing down on the outside. Shawama the Butcher is right there too. Also there, that is Sir Wang down out wide. That is Charming Sound, hustling up and coming forward. That's Great Commander and Workout Crew in the mix. About 2 lengths or 3 lengths before we come to Kismet. Behind Kismet, that is a Blitz Strike. Then comes Captain Phillips, Always Right. About 6 lengths before we come to Clowning Around, and racing at the back of the field, that is a Superior. They head toward the 4, and it is a Captain, it is a Papa Gray and a Grey Commander. These, the Greys, are fighting for it as they go toward the 3. Papa Gray narrowly from Grey Commander. Then comes Shawama the Butcher. Charming Sound comes next. Workout Crew also making progress. That is against the inside. That is Sir Wang Dun. They're coming at the top of the lane, and it is now on that lead. It's Papa Gray in front. Papa Gray in front of Grey Commander. Shawami the Butcher left back against the rail, coming out wide. That's Kismet, but it is Papa Gray still in front. Switch down and ask for more now. That's Shawami the Butcher. Papa Gray in front of Shawami the Butcher. So Wang Dun is also coming on, but Papa Gray still in front. Shawami the Butcher coming on nicely. It's Papa Gray in front, but here comes Sir Wang Dun right against the rail, and Sir Wang Dun has now hits the front, and Sir Wang Dun goes on to win. It's very tight for second between Papa Gray and Shawama the Butcher. Then comes the Captain Phillips.
The 7th race, my selections in this race was Bob the Builder, who ended up winning. Duchess, who something looked like it went amiss with that one. The rider was motionless the whole race, ended up finishing 9th and last. Uncle Baba went a bit too early for his own good, finished back 8th. And Roaring Kitty, who stayed on to finish 4th. This Bob the Builder looks like a very useful horse. Looks like he's going to get a distance aground. Finishing 141 for a mile, which is not bad for a 3-year-old. And Eve was doing it on his wrong lead, didn't change over his lead leg. I think we better keep an eye on this Bob the Builder.
Starter ready? And they're off. Fair start. Star Quest, Cop Car, they took off quickly on the far side. Racing up near the rail, that's Bob the Builder now beginning to gather momentum as they go flashing past the 7. Uncle Baba has made steady ground, and Uncle Baba comes through now to dispute that lead and gets the nose in front. Bob the Builder right there on the rail, and these two bob heads for that lead. Slam Sharp and Roaring Kitty left some 2.5 to 3 lengths back. Duchess is a length in behind them. Cop Car has faded back. Star Quest is some 3 lengths in behind those. Then comes Nebuchadnezzar, and at the back of the field, he's sensational as they've left the 5 and run toward the half mile. Bob the Builder now goes on and opens a length and a tail. It's held over Uncle Baba. Cop Car now beginning to roll down against the rail. Slam Sharp is some 4.5 to 5 lengths off that lead. Roaring Kitty is a length in behind him. Duchess now begins to fade a bit. StarQuest needs to do more. He's sensational, racing out 3 wide, asked to make ground, and Nebuchadnezzar never been in it and continues to race at the back of the field as they come charging up toward the 5/16th. Can they catch this? Bob the Builder out in front. Cop Car now put to the stick and asked to do so. Uncle Baba in between horses. Roaring Kitty down against the rail, but they're at the head of the stretch, and it's a Bob the Builder and a Radish Roman, the champion jockey. They're inside the final 3/16th, and Bob the Builder now begins to go away from them, getting cracks of that step and kept up to his work. It's Bob the Builder with a furlong to run. Cop Car moving best of the rest at the moment. Roaring Kitty down on the rail. StarQuest asked to close up, but it is all a Bob the Builder and a Radish Roman. Bob the Builder romps the 7th event. Maybe 10 lengths. Could be more. Cop Car is second over StarQuest. Then Roaring Kitty. He's sensational. Races back in.
Okay. This is a race that I got criticized for my selection because I left Midnight Galaxy. But if you guys would listen to how I tipped, you'd understand the reasoning why I left Midnight Galaxy. Let me explain. My selection in this race were the 6 Playfair, who finished 6th, Train of Thought, who finished 3rd, King Pie, who finished 4th, and Shooting Star, who finished 8th. I really like Shooting Star. That's the horse I thought would have won the race. The explanation for this race is I knew that Hail the Queen was the speed in the event, right? And with a jockey like Dick Cardenas going to the front, that could be a very dangerous thing. So I went through the race and I was saying to myself, which horse in this race is a front runner that could go and make sure that Hail the Queen doesn't get an easy lead? And when I went through the book, Midnight Galaxy was the only horse I saw that possibly was going to be a front runner, because the last 2 starts of Midnight Galaxy went to the front. So logically, I was thinking that Midnight Galaxy is going to take the fight to the speed horse early and try to steal it. Completely backwards, it turned out. It turned out that the horse who I thought would have sit and stalked and then come with a run in the stretch, that's the horse who rushed right through, opened up on the lead, and blew up and finished 8th, which was Shooting Star. And it set up perfect for the very fit and very improved Midnight Galaxy. And I did point it out. I said the only reason I'm leaving Midnight Galaxy is because I think he's going to have to do the dirty work. And it turned out that he didn't have to do the dirty work. The horse that I favored in the race turned out to be the one doing the dirty work and paid the price in the stretch. So go back and listen to the tips and you'll realize exactly what I said. And it just happened. That's just part of racing, you know. I'm trying to figure out how the pace is going to set up. It just didn't work out in my favor this time around. And good job to the connections of Midnight Galaxy, finally living up to some of early expectations.
They're often racing, not a bad line, as Hail the Queen pushed through for that lead. It's Hail the Queen, Princess Piani, out wide that a Shooting Star, then comes First Offense. Just behind them, that is a Train of Thought, as they head toward the 6 furlong point, and it's Hail the Queen, just the leader from Shooting Star, rushing down on the outside, and Shooting Star now assumed the lead from Hail the Queen. Then comes Princess Piani, Train of Thought, right on the inside of Train of Thought. That is First Offense. Just behind First Offense, that's Midnight Galaxy. Then comes Oil Machine. Then comes Provident, racing behind the Provident. That is Playfair, and racing at the back of the field, that's King Pie. They passed the 4, and it is Shooting Star about 4 lengths in front of Hail the Queen, racing down into second. Still on the rail, that is First Offense. It's Shooting Star in front of Hail the Queen. Shooting Star really traveling nicely, coming to the 2 furlong point. Coming on the outside, here comes Midnight Galaxy. It's Shooting Star in front of Midnight Galaxy, still there in with a chance. That's First Offense. They're coming at the top of the lane. Midnight Galaxy now assumes the lead from Shooting Star, out wide and coming on. That's Train of Thought, also trying to come on. That's Provident. It's Midnight Galaxy in front. It's Midnight Galaxy with that lead, still coming on. That is Train of Thought. Midnight Galaxy in front of Train of Thought. Provident on the inside and coming on. That's Oil Machine, but it's Midnight Galaxy with that lead. Train of Thought still trying to fight on. It's Midnight Galaxy, and Midnight Galaxy goes on to win. Midnight Galaxy beats. It's very tight for second between Provident and Train of Thought. Also tight for fourth between King Pie and Oil Machine.
Okay, was right on the ball here with my 5 selections in this race. Sister and Treasure was 4th. Major Danger and Blue Vinyl dead heated for 2nd. Fearless Force was 5th, and Interesting Times Ahead was 1st. Even though my top choice was Major Danger, that's the horse I thought would have won it. To be honest, I didn't like how Roman ride him. I'm not a jockey, but when you get the lead and you become the lone speed, I don't think you need to tear over by 6 lengths, clocking 23:46. I don't think that was a necessary move in the early stages. He could have relaxed him and probably go 47 and have a lot more in the tank in the stretch. But as I say, I'm not the jockey. I don't know what the instructions were. But I thought Major Danger would have won if he was under a more patient ride and not tearing away in the early stages. But good job done there by Jason DaCosta getting Interesting Times Ahead ready. As I pointed out in my tips, was working very well. And it looks like he's up on the way to bounce back. But as I said, these races are races I kind of like handicapping overnight allowance and up are the easier races because they are the fitter and sounder horses. Now let's look on the replay.
They're off for the Labor Day Trophy. Further and Beyond, Empress Lynx, they came off the slowest as Final Load has blasted through and goes for that lead. Major Danger rushing up on the outside to challenge. Interesting Times Ahead snapping at their heels as they leave the 6. Immeasurable Joy and Blue Vinyl team up in behind. A break back to Fearless Force. Sister and Treasure runs the rail in the purple. Stomp the Rhythm just next. Empress Lynx has made some progress. Then Whiz-Kid and Further and Beyond yet to recover. They've left the 5. They're approaching now the final half of a mile, and Major Danger has taken charge, opening up 5 or 6 lengths. Final Load, the closest pursuer. Interesting Times Ahead, shaken up now and asked to bubble to the boil. Fearless Force is also making ground. Blue Vinyl just in behind with a lot to do, along with Immeasurable Joy and Sister and Treasure. They leave the 3. Just toward the inside, that's a Stomp the Rhythm. Empress Lynx now beginning to fade a bit. Further and Beyond toward the back with Whiz-Kid. They share last as they're about to come into the top of the lane. Can they catch a Major Danger? Here is Interesting Times Ahead now, unleashed by the rider and coming through with a run on the outside. But it is Major Danger now battling to hold the lead. Interesting Times Ahead. Here is Fearless Force. Blue Vinyl also asked to kick in toward the outside. Sister and Treasure. It's Major Danger driven to the max. Interesting Times Ahead now bearing down on him. Over against the rail. That Stomp the Rhythm coming on. Major Danger under pressure. Interesting Times Ahead will win the Labor Day Trophy. Close between Blue Vinyl, Major Danger out wide. Sister and Treasure. Stomp the Rhythm is on the rail.
The 10th and final, my top 4 selections were Design Diva, who finished 6th, Cleopatra Queen, who disappointed and finished 8th, Monster Vigorous, who finished 4th, and Buttercup, who finished 2nd. My top pick there was Cleopatra Queen. Didn't attempt to go for the lead at all. Something probably went wrong, and that one disappointed and finished 8th. Didn't pick the winner there. Another mission. I tipped that horse on the last time it ran when it won impressively, but it was stepping up in class, and I thought it was going to be a tougher pace, but good job there. As I said, that the stable is on fire right now. Oral Hayden, so big up to the connections there of Another Mission. I think they also won with Midnight Galaxy. Yeah, so let's have a look at the race. Also to note, Mila K broke down badly. Horses I think something is wrong with that part of the track. Commandant had a bad step right there too. Equinox broke down right there as well. I think they need to check out that part of the track there. Have a look at Turning for Home with Mila K breaking down.
They're off and racing. Design Diva misses it, along with at the back of the field, that's Ruby's Light, as Awesome Line goes into an early lead. Attacked on the inside by Hit and Run. Hit and Run, Awesome Line. Just in between horses, that's Cleopatra Queen. Then comes a Monster Vigorous. Buttercup tracks them in the thick. Right behind Buttercup, that is Solace. Just behind Solace, that's Another Mission. Recovering after the break, that's Ruby's Light. Then comes Little Maggie. Coming on the outside, that's Mila K. Then comes Hit and Run. Imaya comes next as they make their way coming toward the 3. Then comes the Design Diva and Assure de Jour racing at the back of the field. They head toward the 2.5 furlong, and it's Hit and Run with that lead. Monster Vigorous. Buttercup begins to find stride now. They're at the top of the lane. It's Hit and Run. Buttercup and Monster Vigorous coming on the inside. Another Mission. It's a good looking finish coming to the furlong and a half pole, and now on the inside it is Another mission, Buttercup now hits the front on the outside. Another mission is coming home nicely, and another mission is traveling well. Another mission, Buttercup is fighting on, also coming on. That's Solace. It is another mission in front, and another mission traveling like a winner. Another mission coming to the lineup. Another mission beats. It got tight for second. It could either be Buttercup or Solace. Got even tighter for fourth. Monster Vigorous, Design Diva.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, always stay safe.